Welcome to another episode of Rome Overlanding, and today is a big episode. We are finally going to be doing the walk around on the Rome 2.0 Hilux. It's been an incredible project to watch this vehicle transform from a used rental vehicle into this beast before you here today. It's been a hugely educational experience. It's been loads of fun, and it has been something that has kind of changed me a little bit. But as with all things in life, you know, you go through it, you face your challenges, and you come out stronger on the end. And I must be honest with you, I am absolutely stoked with this vehicle. Today, we're going to be going through all of the little details and giving you a little bit of feedback on everything that's happened to this vehicle over almost a year now. So let's get cracking. But first, I want to introduce today's sponsor. A sponsor that has been kind of hiding behind the scenes the whole time throughout the build, and there hasn't really been the biggest opportunity to be able to shout them out. And I just thought, what a better kind of episode to do that than the walk around. And today's sponsor is actually Cross Country Insurance. They've actually sponsored from the Jimny all the way throughout the Hilux. They've sponsored the insurance on this vehicle, and they have insured every single little accessory on the vehicle. Now, that is amazing. And one of the reasons why I wanted to actually partner up with them was because they really specialize in insuring overlanders, 4x4 people, all of that genre. They understand our needs as a community. They understand that we like to go to 4x4 trails. We like to tackle those things, and they cover you when things go wrong. There's a lot of insurance companies that just, put it this way, when I crashed my Jimny, I had to pay a double excess. Now, that's something that with cross country, they just understand why you're off-road. They don't charge you extra because you were off-road with your 4x4. Another great thing with them is that they actually do cross-border repatriation. So it means that if I'm anywhere out of South Africa, all the way up to Kenya, and my vehicle breaks down, or I'm in an accident or something like that, they will actually bring the vehicle back from wherever that happens. So it's actually quite an amazing kind of feature if you think about it, that they have a network across the whole of Southern Africa. It is incredible. So for a lot of people who live in Europe and they've got vehicles based in South Africa, it's an amazing thing for them because they spend all of their time in South Africa or Southern Africa traveling. And for us who love to go out on the weekends and go exploring and 4x4ing, and we go on our couple annual trips every now and then up into Botswana and Namibia and all of that stuff, I know I'm covered for that, and all of the people in the cross-country community know that they're sorted for that. So I just want to give cross-country a massive shout out. And if you guys are interested in checking out what they're offering, there's a link below in the description where you can see all of the information and you can get in touch with Fricky himself and get signed up. Anyways, let's get back to the main event. Let's start looking at what's happening on the Hilux. For those who haven't been watching, what is the vehicle? It's a Toyota Hilux 2.4 GD6. It's an automatic transmission, got full 4x4, low range, all the off-road bells and whistles that one might need. And underneath it all, this little motor has actually blown me away in terms of the performance. Because it was a thing in the beginning when I was looking at the vehicle, go for the 2.8 or go for the 2.4. It was much more expensive to go for the 2.8, and I basically couldn't afford it. So I went for this, and it's actually honestly surprised me. It's given plenty of power, and it moves this massive vehicle around with absolute ease, and it's a monster off-road. So I definitely haven't been disappointed, and one of the best things is the fuel consumption. I want to run you through some of the things that have happened underneath the bonnet. One of the first things we did with the vehicle is we ended up putting the exhaust in from Viper, and that just opened up our flow, reduced our EGTs a little bit, and gave us room to be able to put in a chip and do a bit of tuning on the motor so that we can get a bit more performance out of the vehicle. So we went to Dustech and we put in their uni chip, and that really, the combination of the exhaust from Viper and the chip from Dustech, that really just opened up the vehicle, and it really just felt so much more kind of capable. It didn't feel so cumbersome, and it didn't feel weighed down by all of the accessories. And that is something that was really, really nice. Recently, we've actually gone ahead and we've put in a catch can from flash loop, and we've also got a water diesel separator slash 30 micron diesel filter. So that's just going to give us some reliability going forward in case we get any water in our fuel that can separate, and just with the catch can, keeping our intercooler and everything clear, nice and clean from any excess kind of gunk build up over time. A couple other little things as a part of the N-gauge 4x4 kind of sensor setup. This is just a battery voltage monitor. This connects via Bluetooth up to my phone, along with the tire pressure monitors and also a sensor in my fridge to manage my temperature of the fridge. And that just allows me to keep a bird's eye view over the battery, the fridge, and my tire pressures, all while I'm driving at the same time. So that kind of wraps everything up here. We have recently done some electrical installations, and we're going to get through to that now once we start looking at the front of the vehicle. At the front of the vehicle, the crowning transformation is obviously the Anker bumper. I mean, this made a massive difference to the look of the vehicle and really toughened it up quite a bit. We didn't go for the bikini version, we went for the full barred version, just to give us a bit of extra protection out on the trail, or protection from animal strikes and things like that. But all along with this, we've done a couple of nice little upgrades to the lighting. So now we've got our Osram MX180 CBs on here. They are performing incredibly well. I'm really loving them. We got some Glowtech LED park lights, LED indicators, and we've got some upgraded H4 bulbs there as well. And we're running just this basic fog lights from Anker. I think they are a Lumino setup. They're not the best. You can always upgrade to rigid, but yeah, rigid money is something special. Hidden behind our number plate here, we've got a Smittybilt 12,500 pound winch that has been used before, and I feel that that will be used in the future again someday. So it's I like having it hidden behind the number plate. It also means when I get off road and stuff like that, and you're really on a 4x4 trail for a couple of days, you don't have to worry about having the number plate on there. So that is quite nice. And none of these pins have ever come out. It's never really given me any hassles. The whole setup has been beautiful. The bash plate underneath there, which we've actually got full skids basically all the way past the transmission. They've also taken a bit of a beating here and there. They've been doing their job. All of the stuff has been performing as advertised. Every single piece of my Anker equipment has a scratch on it. The rock sliders, the rear bumper, the front bumper, and that just goes to show that, honestly, if you were using your standard plastic bumpers, guess what? They'd be on the side of the road next to the trail, and there is huge value in having the right equipment for the job if you're going to get out there and you're going to really be hitting some tough trails. For most people, these might be overkill, and that's up to you to decide, whether something like this is relevant for you or not. But I mean, it looks amazing, and as far as looks go, most people end up putting them on just for that alone, and the Anker is no slouch. Let's move around the side of the vehicle now, and we can start looking at stuff like the Snorkel we've put on here. We've actually gone for the Toyota genuine Snorkel. It's just the way it's been airflow tested, all of that stuff. The availability of them in South Africa is also pretty good. And I think just the way it looks, it's designed for this vehicle. It fits on both the Fortuner and on the Hilux, the 2.4, the 2.8, both of them. And I must say, it's been performing really, really well. Just elevating that air intake, getting you a bit of cleaner air, keeping your air filter lasting longer, and also, keeping a bit of that water out of the wheel well where the old air intake used to be. So as we move down, we've got our Anker rock sliders here. They have worked beautifully, again, just for kind of climbing up, getting onto the roof rack to, work on the spare tire, load stuff up there. It's really good to have them for that usability, but they've also seen some rocks. They've done their job, and they've protected the sill of the vehicle, and for that, I am truly grateful. So when we come around the back, we've got the Anker rear bar, and with the tow ball on there and everything wired up with a little plug here, if you need to tow a trailer, do any of that stuff, it's easy, plug and go. It's been great. I've been using the tow ball quite a bit recently to put a bike rack on there so I can go mountain biking and do all of that stuff. So in terms of usability, beyond just being, protection and having recovery points, it also serves utility. So it's been really nice to have that if you need to just quickly step up, access your rooftop tent, and you don't want to have to kind of open everything up here, you can do that. So I must say the whole protection on the vehicle from Onca has been incredible. The quality of their products is sensational. The look is fantastic. And it's definitely something I would consider putting on my vehicle again and again for years to come. So next up, I think let's have a look down here at the tires. So what we've been running on the Hilux is the Cooper Discoverer STT Pro. Now it's a mud terrain tire, and everybody has their opinions of mud terrain tires, but my experience with these as my first mud terrains has been actually pretty damn cool. I've really enjoyed the performance out of them, and they really haven't, the downsides just haven't been as bad as people said they would be. And that is one of the things, and I kind of owe that to the way we've been balancing the tires. We've been doing road force balancing on them, and I think that's critical for mud tires. Now, the beauty in the middle of the rubber is the Procom Predator 35s, and these, I don't think there is a wheel that could suit this vehicle better. I really think they look incredible. With this vehicle loaded up, they've got a really high load rating, and they are solid. Then hiding behind there is something that has really surprised me on this vehicle. The Power Brake Big Brake Kit. And that is, I'm speechless about it, because it is really, when I want this vehicle to stop, it stops. It's been seriously impressive. And in the beginning I thought, maybe this is a bit overkill. But actually, no, they are incredible. Long downhill descents, all of that stuff, handles it beautifully. I'm in total control. The vehicle doesn't run away from me, it doesn't do anything, and it's important to have good brakes on an auto. And I must say, they've really impressed me. A lot of people ask, do you think it's worth the price? I want to be honest with you, yes. I really think it is. They're not a cheap kit, but if you want performance, there is nothing like it on the market. Now, hiding behind that, in the dark little corner there, is another one of my favorite performance features of the Hilux, and that is the Fox suspension. It's been, I don't even know how to describe it. It's kind of like driving, I always say to people, it's like, I feel like I'm driving a Porsche. I've never driven a Porsche, I don't know what that feels like, but it feels like how I feel like that would feel. And you just have control. That is the critical thing. You've got control. You don't have an aggressive, bouncy ride. It's not like driving a marshmallow. It is just beautifully controlled and really comfortable. And you go over a bump and it just comes right back. There's no like wafting around. It has really been incredible. We're running a 700 kg coil up front. I wish I could have a 650 coil. I feel like that would be perfect. So I feel like we're a bit highly sprung up front. But we got the steel bumper, we got the winch, we got all that stuff under there. So, I mean, it's definitely all right. I think we could compensate by maybe, because the Fox 2.0s are quite adjustable in terms of the customization. You can change the shimming on the inside. You can change all of your compression ratios, all of that stuff. And you can change a little bit of the rating. You can also adjust the height. So I think what we do is to compensate for the extra weight and the rating of the coil, we just kind of, we don't have to pump it up so much, we don't have to lift it up as much. So we could drop it a little bit. And that's a nice thing about having a setup that is adjustable like that, is you can really get in and fine tune your setup to what works for your vehicle, your load ratings, all of that stuff. Now, these are aspects of the vehicle that, really help make the vehicle safe, from the suspension and the brakes and even the power upgrades. These help make the vehicle safe when you are loaded up with heavy weight. Because if you have to drive around with the vehicle standard with all of the load on it, it really is going to A, put a strain on your vehicle, and B, the brakes, the suspension, it's just not going to handle it. And there were a lot of times, before I installed the power brakes, for example, and before I had the Fox suspension, where I would be kind of braking, you're coming up to a light and your foot is kind of flat and you're just hoping the vehicle is going to stop. And that is not a great feeling, especially if you have your family in the vehicle with you, and it's just, that is something you don't want to have to deal with. So going ahead and doing stuff like upgrading the brakes is actually really critical. And doing the suspension, that when you're on those gravel roads, the vehicle sits, it's comfortable, it's not rolling around, it's not wavy, it's not, there's nothing worse than bad suspension. Honestly, the Toyotas don't come with the best suspension to begin with, but it's perfectly fine, with the standard suspension up to a point. But I think let's maybe start moving towards the back of the vehicle again, I want to have a look and show you guys what's been happening in the canopy, and we can look at the roof rack setup and all of that stuff too. So one of the first upgrades I actually think somebody should make to a pickup or a double cab or a bucky, whatever you want to call it, is doing a canopy. And the Bushtec canopy has really been a fun kind of upgrade to the vehicle. It's just full of potential. And I love seeing a new vehicle with a canopy on it, because you can just take it in so many different directions. Now, this is the kind of setup I've gone with. I've got all of my power stuff underneath my awning. And I just found that worked best for me. Being able to, if I want to, I can pull the table out here from the canopy, which just hides over there. I can put it down here. I can put down my laptop. I can work on it. Or even, if you're not doing that, you just want to keep your stuff charged up and, good to go. I've got my walkies here. I've got my camera batteries, all of those things, little lights, torches, everything you might need while you're on your trip. It's easy to access. It's easy to kind of maintain everything. And this kind of heart of it all is the Jackery 500 portable lithium power pack. And basically, this can charge in a couple of different ways. I've got a cable here, which is actually connects to the dual battery in the back of the tub here. And that plugs in, that charges this, or I can charge it via solar, or I can plug it into AC power and charge it like that. So this whole power brick here is versatile. I can have it plugged into the Jackery, or I can pull it out there and plug it into mains power. And then I've got the National Lunar NL5 charger here, which I can plug in there. I can plug this in there. I can plug everything in there and run it off of the campsite power or whatever. So it just gives me a lot of options. If I'm staying in a place for a long period of time, or if I'm moving around often, it's just having that versatility has been really nice. I've got a solar panel here. This is the Flexo Power 150 watt flexible solar panel. And then in here, I keep 2 front runner chairs, and I've got a fire extinguisher in there just for in case. First aid kit over here, table here. The canopy has lights on each door, and I've got amber and white lights on the left and right side. And then on the back here, I have red and white lights, one over here and one on the inside of the canopy. And this is where things get really fun. And this is where the kind of Bushtec setup just kind of goes to the next level for me. We've got the Bushtec asymmetrical drawer system in here. So we've got the 40% split here. And this is where I actually keep all of my kind of pots and pans. I've got these awesome little bags with clear tops. I've got pots and pans, tins, gas, little gas cookers, utensils, paper towel, everything that I need for my cooking and the kind of camp kitchen setup. I've got my Weber over here, which is great to have inside the canopy for trips. It's just a little gas Weber. It uses the same gas canister as my hiking stoves. So I use one set of gas canisters for everything. Then obviously on the other side of the drawer, we've got a National Lunar 90 litre fridge here. Now this is a dual zone, dual compartment fridge and freezer, but you can swap which you want to be freezer, which you want to be fridge. It's massive. And yeah, I love it. Behind that, I keep some spare parts, some tools, some things like that. I've got some spare hoses. I keep extension cords and, stuff that you don't need all the time, but is useful stuff. And you do want it to be easily accessible, and you don't want to have to dig through stuff to get to it. On either side of the setup here, there's the National Lunar 25 amp hour green box dual battery. So that's obviously a portable pack that can come in and out of the vehicle with ease. That is the heart of everything that happens at the back here. The lights, the fridge, even charging the Jackery, all of that stuff. And that Flexo Power solar panel at the back there, that is what I use to charge this pack. Then when it comes to the Jackery actually has its own solar panel, 100 watt solar panel, and that just slides in nicely over here, and that is responsible for charging the Jackery. So essentially I've got 250 watts of solar, and that sees me perfectly. Then on the other side of the canopy here, I actually have my water pump. And this is connected to a little hose here, and I've got a little extension for that. And that I can use to have a shower, I can use to wash some dishes, do things like that. So it's a very nice kind of versatile setup. In this little bag over here, I've actually got another little table that kind of clips on the side of the canopy here. And you can just easily use that little table if necessary. In the little cargo hatch over here, this is something new that I've added to the build, and it is something I'm quite excited about. This is a little kind of go bag that I'm working on. So essentially, if the vehicle's drowning or whatever, I don't want to necessarily put it here. I'm going to find a different spot for it, but you know, I want a setup that when shit hits the fan, you can grab it and you can go, and there's a shelter. We've got a whole tent here. We've got a sleeping mattress. We've got a tarp. We've got just a little thermal sleeve, and I've actually got another blanket that will go in here, a down blanket. Now, you could also put pots and pans, and everything is ideally going to go in here. It's going to be a full-on setup, and it's going to look after itself. And this will be able to go with me in an emergency situation, or on a kayak, or if I go camping on the bicycle, or whatever. I just want this to be a kind of versatile, portable camping setup. Maybe I even want to take off the rooftop tent for a bit. Who knows? I do crazy things sometimes. On this side of the canopy, we've actually got the Max Tracks mounted on the door here. And this has been great. It's a fantastic use of space, and it really hasn't gotten in the way at all. And it has been so easy to get to. I'm always the first person when somebody gets stuck, they come straight to my vehicle and they use my Max Tracks because they're so easy to get to, and I've really liked that. So we just push-tick installed it. They just used the normal Max Tracks mounting pins, threw those on there, and that's worked perfectly. You don't really climb in here, so I don't really bump my head or anything like that, and I'm quite tall. So most people will be absolutely fine with where this sits. In here, we've recently connected up the air compressor just to have it in a more user-friendly place. We've got the in-deflate here just to kind of help with deflating the tires, things like that, so you can deflate two at the same time or inflate two at the same time, and they're both at exactly the same pressures. Just got a little tire pressure monitor. This should actually be in the front of the vehicle because it's got a seatbelt cutter and a glass breaker on it. Little budget thing I bought off of the internet. Over here, this is quite cool. I'm keeping a lot of my spare parts in here. I've got a spare service kit in here. I've got spare radiator hoses. I've got a recovery strap. I've got a tow strap. I've got my triangles. I've got my jack. I've got my everything. If I need to pull over on the side of the road and I need to change a tire, or I need to fix the vehicle or whatever, that all lives in here. And it's a space that I don't need to access much because most of the time when I'm camping, there's bags and things on this platform. So I don't want to have to be putting important stuff in here that I need to access all the time. So it's fine if you're in an emergency, if you need to take out some ammo crates, you need to take out your luggage and you put it on the ground for a bit. It's not the end of the world. But that kind of wraps up the canopy. It's been amazing to have, and I highly recommend people look at investing in a good quality canopy because it is just one of those things that it's a fantastic investment. Now, when we look up, this is where Easy On kind of takes over, and we've really done an incredible Easy On setup on here. We've got their shower cube on here, which I've used a couple times, and it is just great to have. Nice to have a bit of privacy, to just have some space, you know, where you can get changed if you need to go to the loo, if you need to have a shower, whatever you need to use it for. It's just a privacy room, and it works like a bomb. And we've got the absolute, the creme de la creme. We've got the Easy On blade up there. And it is a hard shell rooftop tent. It is 2.1 meters by 1.4 meters wide and is bulletproof. It is made for intense weather, high wind, rain, snow, everything. It really performs incredibly well, and it's treated me beautifully over the past couple trips. And it's really something I love to have. And if you're gonna catch me out anywhere in the wild, you're gonna see me sleeping up there because I get a beautiful night's sleep. And I really wake up supercharged the next day to get going and adventure and film and do all of my stuff. So yes, it's on the pricey side, and it's maybe not necessarily super duper attainable for everybody. I don't think it's absolutely necessary for everybody. You do not need a tent like this to go out and have an amazing adventure either. But it is nice if you can, and you are prepared to give up on the fuel consumption, you're prepared to give up on your top speed and things like that. It is lovely to have. And it really is, for those people who it's worth it, it is absolutely worth every single cent. On this side here, I mentioned it briefly earlier, we've got the 270-degree awning. This is the Batwing 270. This opens up all the way around the vehicle. It is amazing how often an awning proves its value. So whether it's rain, whether it's sun, whether it's whatever, an awning is always incredibly valuable. And I promise you, if you rock up anywhere, it's going to be amazing. You pull it out, everybody's underneath the awning trying to get out of the sun. So especially now with me wanting to do a lot more kind of outdoor activities, cycling, kayaking, all of that kind of stuff, I think having the awning as a little base camp on a day to set up the bike, kind of pack the kayak and all of that stuff, I think it's just going to prove its value even more for my lifestyle. Now the last little touch here, we are running the little K9 rack on the front here, and this is a full spare tire. So that is actually secured on with Easy On spare wheel brackets. It's quite a serious thing, and that tire is not going anywhere. Try and stay within your weight limits for the vehicle in general, but you can at least rest assured with the Easy On stuff that you're going to be good to go in terms of that. That kind of brings an end to everything up top. The next stuff, we'll head inside the vehicle and I'll show you some stuff that's been going on in there. So when it comes to the inside of the vehicle, I've got my tackler seat covers. They have been fantastic. I've been through workshops, I've been through dunes, I've been through mud, I've been through everything with this vehicle, and they have just really done the job. They've protected my seats and they're still looking fantastic. I'm really glad I went with the light color. I've had mixed response from other people, but personally I love how it opens up the cabin. It makes it feel bigger. I love the design, the fountain stitching, all of that stuff is great. I've had the tack mats in now the whole time as well, and they have done an incredible job. They've really been working hard. Even right now they are covered in filth, and they live like that. I just get in and out. If I'm wet, if I'm sweaty, if I'm muddy, dirty, whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm comfortable getting in and out of the vehicle. Then when we look at some of our gadgets inside here, we've got the Garmin Overlander. Now it's a workhorse for me as well. When I first got it, I was like, oh, it's got so many features. There's no ways you can really use all of those features. And on the maiden voyage, I used everything. I have the reverse camera hooked up to there. So that's actually, I use that every single day. I use the explore function. I use the drive navigation. I use the ABC, the altimeter, the barometer and compass. We use that quite a bit. We use the weather. So what you do is you actually link it up to the Garmin InReach Mini, and you can actually sync up to get weather reports and things like that as well through the InReach network. So we use that a couple times. I love the breadcrumbs, just where you just generate a trail of where you've been. That's fantastic. We've used that sometimes, but it's also just great to record the trips and to see where you've been, and you can save that as a GPX file for later use or to share with other people or whatever. So that's been really good. Something that actually isn't in the vehicle at the moment is the InReach Mini itself, but that has also been an invaluable product. I've really enjoyed using that, and that is something that's going to go with me when I go kayaking, when I go mountain biking and stuff as well in the future. So we're gonna, what I love is when you get multi-use out of items. If you really get to use something every single day, if you get to use it in more than one way, that to me really is something that's valuable. Then another thing, we've got a new little addition here. We've got the Garmin Dashcam Mini that I've been kind of reviewing and testing out for a little bit, and it's been very, very cool actually. What I really like about it is it's so small and so easy to use. It was really just stick it on, connect it up to the app, and I've just been using it ever since. You hit record when you want to. If you are in an accident or something, it will actually record automatically. It'll pick that up. But what I've seen is in the lineup, they've actually got a really nice dash cams, one with like lane safety and with you can do travel time lapses and all sorts of things. So I'm definitely interested in trying something, maybe one of the more high-end ones, to see if maybe I could use that footage in my videos. For now, I would say the Dashcam Mini operates more as a dash cam, just in case you're in an incident or something wild happens on the road, you've got footage of that. So to be honest, it works really nicely like that and doesn't take up much space at all. Otherwise, the interior is very standard, very simple. I've tried not to clutter it too much. I've got the little RAM mount arm here for my phone. I've got the RAM mount for the Garmin, and I've got the little mount for the little dash cam, and it's been working really well for me. I don't have any complaints at all, to be honest. That kind of brings us to the end of the walk around. I mean, I hope this wasn't too long. I try to keep it kind of brief and, kind of give you guys useful information about the stuff, and not just talk on and on and on about everything. But just remember that if you ever want to go and look into these things in more detail, I've filmed the entire build series, every step of the way. So you can go to the YouTube channel, or you can go to roamoverlanding.com, go to the videos tab there, and you can find the whole Hilux build series, you can find the whole Jimny build series, all of my videos, and you can just go through them and go and see. I'd really love to know what you guys have thought of this Hilux build, of the series itself. Have you enjoyed watching all the episodes? Have you enjoyed seeing the vehicle transform from a simple little rental vehicle into this monster? Where would you like to see this vehicle go in the future, whether it's trips or you'd like to see the build change in some way? Because I'll give you guys a bit of a heads up now. This is just to kind of wrap this whole part of the build up, but there are going to be changes to the vehicle the next time you see it, quite big changes in fact, and it's going to be interesting experimentation. There's some ideas I want to play with, and I hope you guys are going to kind of join in for that. I think it's going to be really exciting. It's going to be really fun. I think it's going to appeal to a lot of people. So I hope you are going to head over, click subscribe down below, drop a comment, hit the like button. It really goes a long way. And I just want to say a special thanks to all of my product partners who really kind of chipped in to make this vehicle happen. Without them, it would still be a standard white Hilux. It's an incredible thing, but I really think we've managed to build something awesome here. My Patreon members have been there with me every week throughout the build. We've been discussing everything that's happening, all the challenges, all the successes, everything. And they're with me on the journey going forward as well. They're in the loop of all the new changes coming, everything that's happening with Rome. And they really are a big part of it. And I just want to say thanks to you guys, because it really means a lot. To have your support. And if you guys want to maybe even join in on the Patreon, join in on our live streams every week and get more involved in the Rome community, consider heading over to patreon.com /Rome_overlanding, or you can use the links in the description below. And also just a big shout out again, just a thanks to Cross Country for their continued support throughout this entire process. And they really understand overlanding, adventure travel, all of that stuff, and they really have my back and they have all of their clients' backs. And we've had a lot of people join that community over the past year as well, and it's been great to welcome them into the family. So please, if you do want to maybe even just get a quote from Fricky, or get in touch with Fricky and find out some of the differences that Cross Country brings to the table, because they really are a good couple benefits. Consider heading down to the description below and just finding that link, or you can head to the Rome Overlanding website and then you can find Cross Country over there. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers.